World War II was a terrible war where many had died, and at the end of the day, only one country took the victory. Statistics show that many lost their lives, many still survived, many did it because their surgeon said so. The struggle was real. In this podcast, we will explain to you what those are. But first, we will take you back to the beginning that started World War II.
World War I started in 1914 after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and lasted until 1918. The war was between the Central Powers and the Allied Powers, and the heat was on. In this war, 20 million people had died, and 21 million were wounded. Today, this war is known as the Great War. The Great War was known for the enormous amount of conflict. However, the Allied Powers believed they were fighting against an evil militarism that had taken hold of Germany.
General William Mason Wright had a journal that he could write everything that had happened in the war. The journal is called Life in the Trenches, a story that explains what life in the trenches was like and the struggles the soldiers had to go through every day. He started this by saying, "One of the horrors was that warfare never really ceased, and as years passed, the men of both sides despaired of its ever ending. A captured German officer was asked by his guards, 'Will the war end?' 'I don't know when the war will end,' the officer replied, 'but I know where, and that is here.' This shows the fear of the war that was brought upon these soldiers."
General William goes on by saying a typical day in the trenches varied from one place to another. Usually the day was turned upside down, with most of the work being done at night, when darkness gave greater safety to men moving about. He explains in detail, trench foot resembled frostbite. The skin turned red or blue, bringing a terrible itching and peeling of the skin. If it went untreated in the filthy of the trenches, it could get much worse. Gangrene could set in, requiring amputation of toes or feet.
The trenches were bad, but what the soldiers were not expecting was the so-called Part 2 of this terrible war. On September 1st, 1939, the war had just begun. The Germans invaded Poland with a three-front blitzkrieg. They attacked Poland with an overwhelming 1.5 million troops, with their aircrafts in the sky and mobile armor on the ground. The attack had started because the Nazi Party in Germany and its subsequent invasion of other countries.
During the war, German forces had advanced through Poland. The Germans were determined for war and got it. However, other states like the United States, United Kingdom, Soviet Union, and France were known as the Allied Powers. Japan had joined the war and was allies with Italy and Germany. They were known as the Axis powers.
When the Axis powers joined the war, they came with killing machines like the Japanese Zero, which is a fighter plane, which was used during World War II to gain air superiority over a battlefield. Fighter planes were armed with high-powered machine guns and cannons.
The Japanese used a tactic called kamikaze, where they would purposely crash a plane into an enemy ship to sink it. In World War II, many people had died. The war had 72,468,900. The war had 3 times as many deaths as World War I. Lives were lost from Germany, Italy, Japan, Great Britain, United States, and more, but more people died than lived. These people had all risked their lives to be a part of the dangerous war.